My coaching to you, just stop worrying about it.
What are you worried about? I'm your host, Eric Brown, and with me in studio, Mr. Mike Jones.
Hey man, what's going on?
Let's get it. Let's get it and go.
I got a question for y'all today, and you may want to write this down because you may want to process through it. So here's my question. When has worrying about what could happen ever changed what did happen? What good is worrying about stuff? Hey man, I have coached some world-class warriors in my 30 plus years of doing what I do. And the one thing that I know that they were crystal clear about was that worrying about what was going to happen negatively affected their journey to whatever did happen. So here is an exercise that I offered them that I'm going to offer you. They paid for this, baby. I'm going to give it to you for free. Take a moment to write down everything. I said everything that you are worrying about. Write down every ounce of it. Once you have written down everything that you are worrying about, I want you to then get a highlighter and I want you to highlight everything on your list that you have 100% control over. After you have highlighted all of the things that you are worried about that you have 100% control over, I want you to then become aware that you can stop worrying about that because you have control as it relates to how that turns out. So stop worrying about it. The stuff that's on your list that is not highlighted, I would also encourage you to stop worrying about that because there is no amount of worry that is going to change the way it turns out. There is so much that you have no control over. Worrying about it is not going to make it turn out differently.
Yeah, but Mike, if I'm not worried about certain things, then I'm not thinking of every angle of what could happen. I'm not doing my due diligence. So I've got to be worried about certain elements, right?
Absolutely not. I ask the question again. I don't care what perspective you look at things that you don't control. It's gonna turn out how it's gonna turn out. You worrying about it is not going to change the way that it turns out. It's absolutely just going to affect you in a negative way. There is a reason why there are so many people in 2023 on anxiety medicine, because anxiety is created by you creating a conversation with yourself about how you think something is going to turn out. You are creating this future of everything going wrong. And as you're doing that, it makes you anxious. So now there's medication that somehow subsides that, and somehow you're still worrying through the medication. I ask again, when has worrying about how something was going to turn out ever changed the way that it did?
Okay, so I got one because my cousin was doing an outside wedding just recently in Rhode Island. And when he was there, we were worried that it might rain outside. And if we hadn't have been worrying about that, then we wouldn't have had any kind of a venue to bring it indoors if it did rain, which it did.
And you know what, Eric? You don't have to worry about it raining in order to have a contingency plan in case it does. Worrying is over. Nothing to worry about. So, and that's why we've talked many times during our pod blast about there being no plan B. Plan B gives you something to worry about. If you take in consideration all of the things that you need to in plan A, like planning for rain, if you have an outdoor activity that's going to be as big as a wedding, a contingency plan to what happens if it rains, what is there to worry about? Because whether it rains or not is not going to be affected by whether or not you're worried about it or not.
Okay, so what you're saying is you just focus on a positive outcome and keep moving forward.
Oh, what a novel idea.
I mean, I know it sounds easy, but I know our viewers out there are saying it's impossible. I have to worry about certain things.
So if you absolutely feel that there is something on your list that you have no control over that will have value from you worrying about it, I challenge you to contact me at Mike J at Discover Leadership Training and make me aware of what it is. Again, that email address is MikeJ at discoverleadership.com. Make me aware of what that is, and I promise you, I absolutely give you my word that I am going to show you beyond the shadow of a doubt that worrying about whatever that is never going to benefit you.
Okay, but Mike, in my corporate job, when the owners or the CEO of the company is coming in for call it an audit, but it's a visit, we get worried about every aspect of the business, whether or not it's going to be right up to their standards. So how do we eliminate that worry amongst all of the managers?
Yeah, and that's just such nonsense. For those of y'all that are experiencing what Eric just said, that is complete nonsense. If you know what the standard is, if you have an SOP, standard operating procedure, if you know what the KPIs are, if you know what those things are, then you know what standard you need to meet. Why do you need to worry about how that's going to turn out if you know that you are doing the right thing? I encourage you to make that list. Send it to me at MikeJ at discoverleadership.com of the things that you are so worried about. And if you didn't worry about them, they may not turn out right. I need to know what they are.
So, Mike, at Discover, you talk about the worry curve. What does that mean?
Okay, so when I'm planning something, what I really want you to know, I have set a specific outcome. It has a specific time frame. When we are talking about moving the worry curve, what we are absolutely having you focus on is not waiting to the last minute to check to see how you're trending in either a positive way or a negative way. When you move what we refer to in the context of this conversation as the worry curve, you never have to enter into a space of being worried about anything because you kept your finger on the pulse of what was going on. You became ever present and in the moment to what you were doing that were getting you to that outcome.
So really focusing on the outcome is the key to success.
And as always, when you focus on the outcome, you know where you're going. And if you could visualize yourself on a cross-country trip and you know where you're going, you know what it is going to take to get you there. You know what your route is. Your GPS is an internal one that tells you right or wrong, good or bad, appropriate or inappropriate. But you absolutely have got to get rid of the worrying because it's never going to benefit you.
So what do I do then if I find myself worrying about something?
Again, you said it a moment ago, Eric, get focused on the outcome. And again, if I need to continually make these lists where I'm identifying the things that I have absolutely no control over, I can stand in the mirror and ask myself the question, what benefit is worrying going to have in the context of this conversation? And I believe in every instance, when you ask yourself that question, you will become aware in that moment that worrying is never going to benefit you and it is never going to change what happens.
So you heard it here first. Focus on the outcome and just do WIT, W-I-T, whatever it takes.
And I say whatever it takes for you to get out on that edge, baby, you should do that right now. Because when you're out on that edge, there is nothing to worry about because if you're not on that edge, you're taking up far too much room.
Here we go now.